Welcome back to Backyard Boatworks, guys. In this video today, this is part 2 of a multi-part series walking through step by step how I built this transom mounted custom ice box. If you're new here, welcome, subscribe, and follow along. All right, so I started to smooth out these edges here, and I had a high spot right here that ran along this entire way, and then it dipped down here. But as I'm looking, I could tell that it's hard to see in the camera, but I got like maybe a ½ inch dip here in the center. And the reason that happened is because right here, you can see where when I glass it together, this didn't completely meet the bottom piece. I think it's because I didn't cut enough relief cuts in here to make this bend enough. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay more of the COREMAT in this area here, kind of inside where I started with the filler. I thought that I was going to be able to use filler to kind of taper this out, but it's just going to be too hard to get it perfectly smooth. So I'm going to do a layer of COREMAT and see how that works, and then if I have to come back, I'll do a second layer. All right, so as I was going to put the COREMAT here in this section, I realized that I was going to run into a problem where this leading edge had too much of a radius on it, and my top door panel that sit here, there was gonna be too much of a radius, and it was gonna look funny because there'd be a big gap between the front wall and then so there's gonna be a hatch on this eventually. It's hard to see because it's upside down, but there will be a door on here that flips up back and forth. So in order to get this radius perfectly square or close to 90 degrees as possible, I added this strip of COREMAT and I let it hang over the edge ever so slightly. So once this COREMAT cures, what I'm going to do is fill this gap with maybe epoxy or thickened resin, and then I'll take maybe like a belt sander, and then I'll be able to belt sand it square, so the top and the side will have almost a 90-degree angle, so that when the door comes down and rests on here, there won't be a big gap between the front wall and the top. All right, so I was having problems with the resin getting fully soaked into the COREMAT around the edges. So what I decided to do is just mix up another small little batch of resin, and I poured it behind the COREMAT into the edge instead of using filler. So it's hard to see it, but now it's in there bringing the edge up perpendicular. So now what I'll do once it cures is I'll come in with the belt sander and I'll belt sand this front edge square with the top edge, and then I'll clean it up again with more filler. So I'm gonna have to deal with this. So you can see the COREMAT has a thickness, probably an 1/8 of an inch thickness. So I'm gonna have to deal with that. So I think what I'll probably do is just a whole piece of COREMAT here on the front, because I had that dip in this anyways. And then I'll butt the COREMAT up against this COREMAT, and then probably come to here, and then across, and then I'll ferre that all out, and it should be good. I'm gonna have to do the same on the sides here with this. I didn't run it all the way to the edge because I was kind of testing it, and it would be easier if I flipped this up in order to lay those pieces on the end. All right, so where I left off on this project before, I poured the resin in behind this layer of COREMAT so that I could have a nice 90-degree square edge here. So I'll show you the reason why I did that. So you can see now how this front lip matches up with this, and there's like a nice clean gap, whereas over here on the side you can see how where I don't have this mat, this rounded edge was creating a weird gap here. So I used the COREMAT to fill that in, and now I'm going to go and sand off the top edge to square it up to the top. Alright, so I just spent about 30 minutes sanding this strip of COREMAT, and you can see how I just kind of tapered it from the bottom up to the top, and then I left the top here. I try not to sand too much off this top edge because I'm trying to maintain this sharp 90-degree angle here. I might put a small radius on it, but I just want the top cabinet to meet this bottom without any gaps, which is going to be hard because that has a little waviness in it. But so now I'm going to come back with some filler here to smooth out this taper, and then I'll put some filler along the top, and then I'll make this a perfect 90-degree edge all the way around.